might need to make one of those fantasy name rollers, because otherwise I'm just going to say Jeffrey and Jeremy again and again forever. Jeffrey 8 shows up. It is I, Jeffrey 8. You've been chasing me for many years across the realms. Finally, I reveal myself. The 8th Jeffrey. So that's it for stream. Stream is over. We did it. We successfully did a stream to all of 2 people, one of which is Shauna, one of which is me. Now
we can say all the R-rated things.
Exactly.
I seduced the bard.
Well,
I seduced the river.
It's still mad at you from the 1 point of damage. Don't worry, it'll warm up. Okay, yeah, and so we successfully did a session. I'm pretty happy about how that went, and I want to ask if there's anything from that session, if there's a character or a moment that you want to like elevate to something that happens more often or something that happens less often.
I think we have to run into Jeremy more than once.
100%.
You like Jeremy Elfwood and his 7 elven convenience cart? That's gonna be a
he just
recurring.
has to be like unnecessarily at a lot of places.
Okay.
Maybe not even. He should have like a different job each time.
Oh my god, like working in the subway or something.
He doesn't understand why he can't hold down.
Because you rob him blind every time. Okay, well, I like that there's a whole bunch of service jobs in this universe, and they're all going to be held by a teenage 120-year-old elf named Jeremy.
Oh, hey, you guys again.
I'll actually have to look up if I can use my battle spells out of battle. I just realized. Because like cantrips I can, utility spells I can. And if I could use utility spells out of battle, then I would assume I could.
I mean, I don't think you have to look that up. I think that comes down to the DM, and I think this DM thinks that it's cool to be able to use all of your abilities all the time, because it doesn't make narrative sense for you to have abilities that only trigger some of the time. But for the sake of clarity, I'm going to say that you can use your dailies once per full heal, you can use your once per battles, once per scene, and you can use your at-wills whenever the hell you want.
Yeah, okay. Because I have a note here that's like, wizards can cast spells as rituals, and I'm like, I don't actually know what a fucking ritual is.
Oh no.
Yeah, and so you are still fully allowed to concoct a ritual, but the way that works is an at-will spell is sort of exactly a magic missile. You always get the same magic missile. You throw a couple of acorns. It does, 1d6 or sorry, 2d4 damage. You always get the same effect whenever you cast a spell. It is the reliable effect of that spell. However, a ritual is a way to take a spell and really freestyle on it. If you have a spell that does something, a ritual is a way to do something that is really unusual with that ability. And so in the case of color, like you could try to think of a really clever use for color spray if you wanted to like tie-dye a shirt or something. You could color spray it using a ritual, and it would end up being like you're trying to do something with the spell that the spell wasn't really intended for, and you've got some time to try to figure out how that magic is going to play out. So you can warp your magic to the situation at hand using ritual, at which point we go through the ritual rules, and we do the ritual thing and determine if you succeeded at it. And so in that scene, you were just like magic missile, and I'm fully willing to accept that you don't have to like sit there and concentrate and like do the magic missile dance, because no, you've got magic missile on lock. You know how to do a friggin' magic missile, like bam, and that's what happened. But if you wanted to be like, well, I want to try to use my special acorn ability to like grow this acorn into the base of a plant, where it's like, yeah, okay, that's a different kind of magic. It still leans into your ability to like to do something really special with your missile there, to like take your acorn and like grow it into a tree. But that's a ritual. That's an interesting effect that uses the magic, but in sort of a creative new way.
All right, so it kind of unlocks more narrative, but obviously like it has to be like thought of ahead of time. It's not something you can just drop in the middle of like right now.
Yeah. And so like you can always use Shocking Grasp to do like a zap, but if you somehow have like a phone that you've brought over from the office world and you want to try to charge it with your Shocking Grasp, that'd be a ritual, because it's not a simple shock. You're trying to do something very specific and not necessarily what your thing was intended for.
Do you happen to know, or I can look this up, for rituals, do I have to have the spell memorized for the day, or can it be any spell?
I believe it's any spell you know. You still expend the spell as
right,
if,
yeah,
but it can
does,
be any spell you know whenever you want. You can use a ritual to cast it. And so even if you don't have the spell on lock, you can still cast it. And on top of that, the skill is expended as normal, but if you didn't have a slot devoted to it, you don't lose any slots because you expended a spell that you didn't have on lock. It's a weird rule, but it's like you burned your daily use of a spell that's not one of your spells, so you still have all of your regular spells, but you can't use that spell again. I read through that segment because the ritual rules are a little complicated. And
I don't think they're in 5e.
No, well, 5e just has very different ritual casting, I think. I think there is a way to do a ritual in 5e, but I think every spell is like a micro ritual, and you have to have the components and do the verbal and the somatic.
10-minute or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some spells just take a minute to cast, and they just tell you on the spell, this always takes a minute to cast, and it always takes a component, and you're like, oh, well, nuts to that.
Literally.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, we missed well, I don't want to say we missed a bunch of stuff, but I've got so much cool stuff planned. And we went through 3 tiles.
Just means
Listen,
you have
man, shopping is important.
No, it's
you have some free time next time.
It's I'm actually really happy about that. I was worried that I had prepared like fully 3 separate dungeons, and I was like, what if they burn through all 3 of the dungeons? Like there's a part of my brain that over prepares for things when it's not totally sure what is going to happen.
It's fair, because I've definitely played with groups that just will like burn through everything, kill everything really fast, and then the DM's like, that's everything I got, folks.
Yeah, I mean, like the other campaign I'm playing, we had like an escort quest. We were taking someone from like A to B, and obviously along the way there's all these like little things. We're like, fuck it, keep going.
Yeah.
but there's this thing over there. We're like,
can I interest you in this shiny side quest?
Nope.
I'm pretty sure we burned past about 6 encounters.
Lol.
Nope.
And that ended on like a literal actual cliffhanger, which is,
Oh my god, you're right.
It's organic.
Yeah, it organically came up, and I was like, oh, I wonder what time it is. Oh, it's time to call this one a day. Nice.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Curtis.
Yeah.
Do you like the current level of audience members, or do you wish we had more audience members?
Oh god.
I think that I'm at the point where I'm reasonably confident that we're putting on an entertaining show.
Okay, so you would like more audience members?
Yeah, if you wanted to push this to some people, I'd be okay with that. I feel like you're supposed to run these things a couple of times just to get a feel for what you want the output to be. But I went over all of the content that we produced last week, and I thought as a group we were charming and funny and interesting enough that I put it all on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I think that is if you wanna push on this a little bit and tell people about it, I would be on board, because I think that we've reached the point where we're entertaining. We solved the one audio problem that I encountered in our first round, which was just that I'm so loud that you can hear me from the other room.
Okay, all right. I'll tell people next session. I don't know if anyone will come, but I'll tell people I know.
Yeah.
Any art requests? Can I do anything for your hair, Jen? Anything for the project manager's hair? You need elf ears.
We never organically came to it, and I'm gonna unveil it anyways because it's a thing that happened. So at some point you could have run into a trunk full of costumes organically within the world, and it would have unlocked up in the character zone, up in the dress up area, this Misk treasure box. Which I'm going to long press to unlock.
Would you call it a tickle trunk?
It was a tickle trunk. It was definitely a clown-packed nightmare. But Yeah, so Misk Treasure was just a handful of. There's some elf ears, there's some top knots, there's a backpack, there's some lips, there's some braids, there's some magic, there's some granny hair. It's just a little a mix and match of some things that I made because they've been requested, and I was like, oh, we got some requests, and so I put them in the new thing. And if you unlocked the Tickle Trunk, you would have got them organically, but that didn't happen, and I still want to give them to you. Also, I added 2 more champion outfits to the set of champion outfits.
Sweet.
I mean, thank you, Tiff, because I'm pleased with my new hair, ears, and tail. Super cute. I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
And Beatrice is amazing.
Yeah, and the fresh Beatrice is an awesome
I tried to channel you.
invocation of that character. Oh, and I like the new hair. I like just the whole new combo in the Amelia-verse. I like the new Amelia character design.
It's so good.
Oh, I just realized I don't have a Doreen.
A Doreen, yeah. That's why I keep being like, do you want something for the... She's a project manager, isn't she?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
but I took her apart and I never put her back together.
Oops.
Yeah.
So I mean, I still have a Doreen, but it's a weird copy Doreen that I pasted from earlier. So if I put that back here in the changing room, it's gonna be like this is where Doreen was, but this is not an unpackable character. This is just a picture of what you were at, I think.
Okay, I can just remake her. Let's see, project manager hair. What does that even look like?
Yeah, like I tried to base some off of your pictures. Do you like your pictures enough to want your characters to look exactly like it?
Pretty much.
I mean, I literally spent like 5 seconds finding that on the internet, so I'm not married to it. Let me say.
What is it? And your hair is always so excellent. And what is a good project manager's good hair? Like, what is it? Is it really sharp, like bangs? I don't know.
I think I just need darker hair.
Yeah, do you need like kind of shoulder lengthy? You're going like mid back.
Oh, I kind of like the stupidly long hair if it was just
Yeah,
dark,
just like quite
my
dark.
soul.
Oh yeah, like charcoal, like almost blackish, or
yeah,
just
like
like
a
a
little-
touch browner.
Probably more like blue black.
Blue black. Okay. I can do hair. I love drawing hair, so people want to draw their
It's one of
hair.
Tiffany's things. I
Oh.
really liked how combat went. I was
Yeah, that turned out well.
That's
I like
great.
my character because I just don't do anything except react. So, except if I get distracted by the cat or something, then I have to be following what's going on in everyone's turn all the time, because it's if you guys get like, if somebody uses a recovery, if somebody misses, if somebody rolls if a guy runs. I never got to use my Curse of Chaos, and that's where I like loaded my 1 champion feat into, or like my feat. Where if somebody rolls a 1 to 5, I get to turn it to a natural 1, and I get to pick the chaotic, terrible way they take damage. They just like stumble and fall and trip and hurt their head or something.
which also means that we're going to have to be really careful about putting you in harm's way enough that you can trigger that, but not so much that you can take a lot of damage, because as a squishy
Yeah,
wizard,
I
you
have
want-
a delayed heal, so if anybody even tries to heal me, I have to wait a whole turn before it takes effect. So I can't.
Right.
I have low health and bad healing, so I kind of stay back for a little bit. But I'm surprisingly strong. I have Hewer of Truth as one of my feats, and it lets me use my longsword like pretty well. I should only have like a little tiny dagger where I like beep beep beep, but I have a pretty strong longsword instead because of a skill. We're going to use like my intelligence as my strength, so for a ridiculous amount of stab power, because I'm really smart apparently.
Yeah, so Tiff has what's the word? The ability
Sure.
to stab good, but she doesn't take hits well. But if she takes a few hits, she has a lot of abilities that trigger off of that. So you want to put yourself close enough to battle to kind of pick off one monster, but you don't want to be near the front and take the brunt of all the monsters.
Well, and I wasn't sure if I should have deployed my guy or not. Should I have sent him into the river to pass that stick to the... Should I have used it up for my turn? I could have maybe saved her.
I do want to let you know that as the sort of person who plans absurdly far ahead for everything, I had a plan for if you got across the river and if you didn't get across the river.
Perfect.
So there's stuff that will happen for you down the river, and there's stuff that would have happened for you if you didn't go down the river. And if you didn't go down the river, you would have eventually discovered what was down the river anyways, because the whole map would have arced around and still given you that event eventually, just way later. So you've deeply changed the order of events, but none of my planning is going to go to waste.
Yeah. But it is strategic for me to figure out when I should use that once a day corporeal touch, you know?
Well, and that's a really good
pretty
ability.
powerful to have.
That is a particularly good ability to stack with your current set of character traits, which is like you want to be close enough to battle to take gentle hits and do a lot of damage, but you're very squishy, and so the ability to completely soak one big hit is going to be super useful for your character, because if some like big orc comes along and slams you for 20 damage, that'll put you near death, and you'll be like, no, that's the one I want to not take.
Yeah.
And your character build is like, it's pretty solid. You've got an interesting character build. It just seems like it's got there's a bit of a learning curve with that character. Like, it's strange to figure out how you're gonna use her effectively.
Yeah, she also I built her to react to enemy moves, which I didn't really think of when somebody is when we're getting attacked by only one person. I'm probably going to be less useful in boss battles, because when we're getting attacked by a mob, there's lots of opportunities for guys to miss or hit one of you. But if we're all going for 4 turns and then the enemy only goes for 1, I won't be as useful, because a lot of the stuff that I trigger is related to how the enemy behaves. But yeah, that'll be an interesting character to get better with.
I just have this soft, ominous clown standing in the corner. Did anyone notice soft, ominous clown standing in the corner?
I noticed it. I noticed it. I was scared.
I zoomed out
did
to
not.
look at something. It's
did
like,
not
oh,
at
it's a clown. I'm gonna ignore that.
I hope it goes away.
I requested that specifically from Tiffany, and you never hit the clown event. There is definitely a clown event. There are so many events planned.
I finally made use of your good stacked belts. They're in my hair.
This body right here, the like blonde one on the far right, top far right.
Yeah.
Could I get that in a dark brown, like the hair? I love the like
Yeah.
fan, like I love that.
Sure. Yeah, did you get the back piece for it too? Did it fly away? There was a big blonde back piece.
Yeah, there's the back piece too. Can I get them both in a dark, like a mid-range brown?
Sure. Do you want them to match your tail, or do you want them to match what you've kind of got right now, which is like
I
one
was gonna
tier?
do this for my my project manager,
Right. Okay.
if that's okay.
Darkish brown on the Photoshops. I can do this. I still have it open.
And if not, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal.
Okay, I can say with some measure of certainty that we had 14 views, so 12 unique people popped in and watched that weren't so 10 people showed up, and most of them stayed for no more than 5 minutes, which is not great, but it is. I got my stream summary. Some people showed up. It's not terribly important for me that this be popular on the internet. I'm enjoying doing it for the sake of it. But
Curtis.
the fact that I think people might be watching it inspires me to work really hard on all the features of the game. So that's like it's there to provide an obligation and to force me to flex a little, not to actually have an audience.
Curtis, we have to increase our retention before we add to our growth. That means we need.
Get out.
No. We need to set some concrete KPIs for our next session.
Please no.
Yeah.
Never again.
Well, I feel like
Sorry.
we've now hit our full-on midnight. I feel like we had a good sort of post-session recap. We talked about some stuff. We've got already a recurring character who is going to show up in future sessions. I'm delighted that Jeremy Alfwood is Also, I desperately now need to check my behind the screen to make sure that I didn't name your boss Jeremy also.
I think you might have. It's in the
oh,
stand-up. I
There's
think it's in the stand-up.
so many
sentiments.
Jeremys in this universe. Oh no.
Is he Jeremy?
He's Jeffrey. There's a Jeffrey and a Jeremy.
Yeah.
Good thing
Oh,
that won't be
okay.
confusing. Oh, dude. There's a Jeffrey. Okay, that's better than 2 Jeremys, although I might need to make one of those fantasy name rollers because otherwise I'm just going to say Jeffrey and Jeremy again and again forever. Jeffrey 8 shows up. It is I, Jeffrey 8. You've been chasing me for many years across the realms. Finally, I reveal myself. Jeffrey. Okie doke. Thanks for playing, everyone.
Thank you.
And I'll see you all again in 2 weeks.
Yay.
All right. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Night, everyone.
Thank you.